Thank you so much, Tina. You know, over the last 35 years, I had the honor of knowing a man. His name was Dennis Rao, and he was the president of the Santa Claus Club board up until January of this year. Dennis was on the air last year, you know, offering those appeals. He had been ingrained in the Santa Claus Club for 3 decades. To him, it was such a worthy cause. Dennis had cancer, but even in the last few weeks of his life, he was here working hard to help kids in need right here in the tri-state. We lost Dennis just 5 weeks after he appeared on this stage. But the smiles that he offered that day in December of 2012 will stay with us for, well, the rest of our lives. And what he did over those 30 years, working often behind the scenes, running from here to there, making those phone calls to get those corporate dollars, those business dollars, contacting people saying, hey, can you come out and help us this year? We're clothing kids right here in our own neighborhoods in the tri-state. He was definitely one of those men who left a footprint here in the tri-state, and often the old saying, a tree is best measured when it is down. That was certainly the case with Dennis Rao. He was a kind gentleman. He was a decent man. Here's a tribute now, a memoir of Dennis Rao.
I was born in Mount Vernon, Indiana. My parents had a farm, so I was raised on a farm. Lived there until my early 20s, and then I met the love of my life and got married, and we moved from Mount Vernon to Evansville. One of the first things I did career-wise in Evansville was work at Sears as a shipping receiver, and I did that for a couple of years, and then the opportunity came up for me to get my dream job, which was to be a commercial artist. I always liked to draw as a kid, and when kids like to draw and they can draw fairly well, they pretty much going to have some kind of art talent. And I had recently interviewed at the Evansville newspapers, and about 6 months prior to that, and they didn't have an opening, but then one became available, and they called me in and to make a long story short, offered me a job as a commercial artist. So I started really in the advertising business as a commercial artist with Evansville newspapers.
Dennis didn't just get started in advertising. He took the business by storm. You might even say he was a pioneer. Dennis went from the local newspaper to several ad agencies, including one of the country's top advertising firms, Keller Crescent. In 1974, Dennis and a Keller Crescent co-worker made the bold move of starting their own agency. It was a tremendous success. When his partner retired, Dennis started another chapter in his career.
For about the past 15 years, I've had my own business called Vision Communications, and we work with a variety of clients, all the way from those business-type clients to commercial clients or retail type clients. So we do television commercials for them, as well as websites and brochures and magazine ads and those kind of things.
Dennis's passion for art has been a gift to the tri-state. His talent for painting has brought many area landmarks to life. 2 of his most adored creations are on an iconic painting of the Zesto Drive-In and the Back Home Again artwork commemorating the revitalization of the historic Evansville Brewery.
What really intrigued me about the Zesto restaurant is it was really a South Side icon, as I looked at it. And it had been there and has been there since 1952. And it's the same building as it was in 1952. They haven't changed it at all, other than recently they put on an awning. But other than that, it's the same daggone building as it was then. And I just thought that was pretty cool. And there's always people standing there waiting to get their food at Zesto. I was quite surprised at how many people wanted and bought prints of the Zesto painting. I did another painting that's kind of an iconic type painting. Back in 1988, I believe it was, Evansville Brewing Company started up. And the brewery had been shut down for at least a decade, and it was a big, exciting time that this new brewery called Evansville Brewing Company, and it was put together by three entrepreneurs in Evansville, and they started up Evansville Brewing Company. We were their advertising agency at the time, and so we designed this sign to go on the side of the building. And the day that the sign painters went over and did the painting, I went over with a camera and shot a bunch of photographs, thinking that someday maybe I'll do a painting of it. Well, I recently did a painting of it, 30 years later.
Dennis has always supported many area charities. His most cherished is the Santa Claus Club that provides new, warm clothing for the Tri-State's needy children during the cold winter months.
The best part of the Santa Claus Club that I like is knowing that we, as an organization, have helped to clothe 2,500 to 3,000 kids every year. They get a new pair of socks, they get underwear, they get a new pair of jeans, a shirt, and a coat with a hood. And we know that those kids are going to have or be warm this winter. And that's really a good feeling to know that you've helped to get that many kids clothing that'll keep them warm, that otherwise they probably wouldn't be as warm or as well kept as they're going to be because of the Santa Claus Club. Well, I became president of the Santa Claus Club 2 years ago, and this would have been about 2010. And I've done that for the last couple of years and I've really enjoyed it. Learned a lot more about the Santa Claus Club in being the president, and look forward to continuing to be on the board. I did resign due to health reasons, and my resignation is official at the end of this year. But we've got a good system. We've got a new president coming on in Wendell Burkhart, and he'll do a great job. And I'll still stay on the board to keep an eye on Wendell.
In 2004, Dennis faced a major challenge when he battled prostate cancer. After recovering, Dennis devoted renewed energy to his business, his painting, and the Santa Claus Club. Recently, the cancer has returned, but it has not stopped Dennis from his work, his art, his charities, or his family.
I have tried to set an example throughout my life of giving back, not just with the Santa Claus Club, but in other ways through church and through other charitable organizations and all. We're fortunate to have what we have, and it's always good to give back and help in ways that you can. And so I hope that my sons, and I think it will, carry through with them. And already my granddaughter has already picked up on that, and she's just 7 years old. One thing I've learned from all of this is you just have to take a day at a time and realize that there's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days, and there's a time to live and a time to die, and it'll all happen in its own good time. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to enjoy life as much as I can, and right now I'm doing well. If you asked me this 3 months ago, I wasn't doing well at all, evidenced by my hair. But you just have to keep on going and be positive, and if you keep a positive attitude, at least you'll have a good time with the time you got.
If there is anything right there you see Todd Raub looking at that video, watching that I know he's probably watched hundreds of times, helped produce it for his dad. And if there was anything more true is the fact that Dennis Rao did make every moment count in his life, and all the way up to the very end. Because I remember last year at the Santa Claus Club Telethon, he was in pain, but he was here fighting like he always did for these kids, all kids in the tri-state, especially those in need, to provide warm winter clothing. And joining me now is his daughter-in-law, Todd's wife, Shanae Rao. And, you know, we had a private conversation about 4 weeks ago. We were at a banquet that the station was at, and you said, Todd didn't know about this right now, but we're planning something special. Tell me about that.
Well, Dennis and the whole Rao family, the Santa Claus Club, has always been really important to him and to us. He was served on the board over 30 years, and his wonderful wife, my mother-in-law Kathy, also always did behind the scenes volunteering. My brother-in-law Matt raised money through Rights Home, and of course my husband Todd producing today. So it's always been really special to our family. And one thing that he always wanted with the kids is to make sure that they understood what it was like to give and to have a big heart for others. And so it was actually Ellery, my daughter here, it was her idea to try to raise money and to surprise her father in honor of her grandpa Dennis. So we kind of put our heads together, and I'm the food nutrition director for Warwick County Schools, and we thought it would be a great way to try to raise money and let the kids of Warwick County be involved in trying to help their classmates and try to raise some money for them. So that's what we did.
You know, it's amazing to think about the thousands, we're talking about thousands of kids in the tri-state that, well, Dennis was part of this effort. And when we say telethon, folks, this is a 6-hour telethon, but this is an effort that takes 365 days out of the year. But the thousands of kids, and some of them, we just saw Dan Felker come up here. When he was a child, he was a recipient, and he's made a donation, an incredible donation. Here, this beautiful family that you have is still working hard for the Santa Claus Club. And today, these beautiful kids, Ethan and Ellery. And Ellery, I think this was a wonderful idea you had. And you enjoyed the cookies too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a look. We're going to show right now the check. Ellery, it looks like that's a lot of cookies you sold there. Well, how much, you got more than $5,000 there, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well, let's take a look here. Folks, take a look at this number here, $5,802.15. And I tell you right now, Dennis is smiling down right now seeing this, and we have some great people here with us, because this was more than just plopping cookies in the oven and everything. You really had to coordinate this, and you have some great people. Oh, your cafeteria managers, right?
Right. Our cafeteria staff gets to know these kids so well, and the kids mean so much to them, and they really do a lot of giving. And we have a great staff with all of our 16 schools, and a few of them were able to come here and show their support and all their hard work that they did to help raise this money. So I appreciate them, and we couldn't do it without the managers and the actual kitchen workers that we have across the district.
You know, sometimes when we drive down the street and you see it in the work that you do, especially at this time of year, we might see a child who is walking to school, maybe getting ready to hop on the bus, just may not have a coat on, but just maybe a light jacket, possibly that has been handed down by a sibling or what have you. But these kids are able to go and pick out their own clothing from head to toe, and it is a bargain thanks to the great people at Walmart.
And that is wonderful, because you don't realize who the kids are, and they get to come pick out what works for them, and it warms all of our hearts. And I encourage anyone that can to give, even just a little bit it goes a long way. So. All
righty, Dennis, we love you. Thank you so much for everything you did, everything you continue to do in your spirit for the Santa Claus Club and for the thousands of kids in the tri-state who need help.